Right, so now we have Diana joining as well. And all right, so first I wanted to say this before we start with the good part, that it's been the first week and some of you been here for a while and some of you are new. And I know people have, guys, and please, I'll probably have to mute all of you, or you will promise to be quiet. No, I'll mute you. So we have people who are having some difficulties. No new people are participating in the group. I don't see anyone writing except Jim. And I think you're missing a huge benefit of being in a group. The whole point of having a group is support, asking questions, learning. If anyone has any difficulty with using the group as a medium, please let me know and we'll find, we'll change the format of the group so it's easier. And maybe the, the veterans can chime in and say maybe the previous format was easier. We did a change for good reason, but we want to accommodate you. Second thing, if you are not tracking your food, please start tracking your food. I sent messages to everyone who does not. And if you won't start, it will not help you in any way. Even if you are here and listening to everything, it won't work. Because there's a reason why you are here. You paid good money to get good value out of it. You're given the tools, please use them. And if you have hard time doing this, do let us know, because if you don't ask for help, it's just not happening. And the goal was for that to happen and for you to get all the benefits. So please do this. Finally, whoever didn't submit your measurements this week, please do this tomorrow morning, fasted first time in the morning, so we know where your progress stands. Now, enough with the pleasantries for today. I will transfer the mic to Dr. Adria, and who will introduce Chef Devon, and I'll just be quiet here and enjoy the programming.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. You're going to get so much out of this tonight. So Devon and I met when she came into my office accompanying a patient who needed some help. So she came with the patient. And I just expected it to not go so well, because a lot of times nutritionists don't always have the same ideas that Julie and I do. But Devon is so on point. We just clicked right immediately, and she completely understands how to do this properly. She understands the value of the protein. But she also knows how to make, not only make it taste good, but make it really healthy. So that's the problem that I see sometimes when I look at the chronometers is, we want to make it simple so that it's doable, but eventually that could get a little boring. And that's how things backfire, to the point where, like, one day you look at an egg and you go, I will never eat an egg for the rest of my life, because you're just so sick of them. So we want to make sure that you're making this so palatable that it's not just something you feel like you have to do, but you feel like it's something you really want to do. And anytime, Devon and I did a lot of things in the office together. We did lunch and learns, and one time I remember we did a detox, and I basically did a full elimination diet: no eggs, no corn, no soy, no dairy, no grains. And everyone was really paralyzed. They were petrified that they were going to starve to death. And she made this huge spread, and then we invited everyone to start eating, and they said, oh, we can't eat any of that. It's not on the diet. And we said, no, everything here is on the diet. All this delicious food is on the diet. And everybody was so surprised that you could take away all these ingredients and still have amazing food to eat. So tonight, within the confines of what we want you to stick to, we're going to show you how to, just kind of snazz up your meals, make them more healthy, make them delicious, and just sauces and things that you can put on the plainer protein so that you continue to enjoy this program. So without further ado, let's hear Devon.
You're unmuted, Devon, so you probably want to unmute yourself.
Oop, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I really love food and I love to eat. So the idea that anybody's feeling deprived and disappointed with what they're left being able to eat is horrifying, because nobody's going to stay. stay on any, it's not even a diet, but nobody's going to change their lifestyle if the food doesn't taste good. So that's really what I love to do. So tonight I'm going to, everybody got menus, right? So you have, right, Adria, everybody has menus. And so they know what we're making. Is anybody planning to chop with me and do a little prep? Or is everybody watching? Anybody chopping?
Chopping.
Okay. All right, good. Then I'll just...
I left the kitchen. I thought everyone was going to be doing it. And then when I saw everyone sitting there, I was like, oh my God, I think I misunderstood.
No, well, I was open for anybody. Hopefully you've got the ingredients on hand though, and you'll be able to just transfer right over to the kitchen. Okay, so I think I'll start with the chicken fajita salad with the spicy avocado dressing. Greens, vegetables, there's no way around it. You've got to have them. You've got to get them in. You've got to get them in whatever way you can possibly. So I'm going to give you some dressing ideas tonight and a spicy sauce idea that you can use with your proteins and your veggies and as a marinade in some cases. So we'll start with chicken fajita salad, and got your chicken. So I'm going to I've got my chicken. This was a couple of chicken breasts. I sliced them up into strips, popped them in a bowl. I'm just going to season those with not too much, a little bit of cumin. Well, plenty, 2 teaspoons of cumin and some chipotle. If you don't like chipotle spice and you want to use a chili spice, if you don't like the smoky, you know, this is just kind of making suggestions. You make decisions, right? Make recipes your own. I'm going to add some sea salt and juice of a lime. And I try to keep things simple because if it's not simple, you won't stick with it. I don't have a lot of fancy gadgets in my kitchen. I like to just use a spoon and get all the juice out. You don't need a reamer. You don't need a juicer. You don't need anything crazy. A spoon will do it. Okay, we've got all that in there. Stir it up and then just let it sit for about a half an hour while you prepare your salad. If your chicken's coming straight out of the fridge, you want it to sit and get to be a room temperature, really about 20 minutes to a half an hour anyway. It will cook more evenly. Same with steak. Fish, maybe 5-10 minutes, not that long. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit. And now we'll do our salad component and dressing component. I have back here, I've already pre-washed some lettuce. I don't know if anybody was able to find Napa cabbage. I went to 3 stores today and no Napa cabbage. Sometimes it's in, sometimes it's not. Napa cabbage is an oblong cabbage that's white and light green mostly. It is curly, it slices up great, and it really stays crunchy for days in the fridge. So it's a great one for the Asian chicken salad. For this spicy fajita salad, you can also use the Napa cabbage. I couldn't find any. We're using romaine and red leaf. I don't chop my salad because, little tip, I like to make a lot of heads, so I have it for the week. If you chop it with a knife, it will get brown on the edges. By the next day, it will start to get brown. So tearing it is the best. And it's a little bit more high maintenance to tear it. But in the end, you get bite-sized pieces and it will stay fresh for 4 or 5 days in your fridge. So you can fill a big bowl with your salad and just bring it out for any and every meal. I'm using romaine, and I also washed up some red leaf lettuce as well. I don't love lettuce in a box. I don't love the pre-bagged lettuce. It just kind of tastes off to me always, even if I wash it. So I do get the heads. I don't have any full heads because I broke it all down. I buy the heads of romaine, the heads of red leaf lettuce, and then I use a salad spinner. If you don't have a salad spinner, you might want to think about getting one if you're getting serious about your greens. You add your wet greens in here, you spin it, you take your greens out, you dump the water, and you start all over. And you can wash so many greens so quickly with a spinner. It takes all the fuss away of it. So I'm going to continue tearing my red leaf lettuce. Red leaf lettuce has, all lettuces are so great for you. The fiber is so important. Actually, you're not seeing anything. Hands. So nobody else has a mic on, right? Because I'm thinking if people have questions, Adria or Julian, how would I be able to answer questions? Sometimes.
Can they unmute themselves, Julian?
In the end, are you going to do questions? Or?
So everyone can post messages in the chat if they have questions.
Oh, gotcha.
Also, in the end, we can make it an open mic and people just can chime in and ask.
Okay, great. So if you have questions as you go, just jot them down or try to remember them.
And I'll just chime in again. You can post questions and then we can just go in the order you posted them. That's for everyone.
Correct. All right, so I'll fill this bowl. And usually I'll use 2 or 3 heads of lettuce. And I like huge salads. I might even use a bowl this big to eat my salad. I love the crunching. I love the chomping. I find it very satisfying to eat a lot of vegetables with my protein. They have lots of enzymes that help you break down your proteins that you're eating. So really eating them in combination is a great idea. I won't just stand here tearing all the lettuce. You get the idea. Fill your bowl. And then from there, you can start adding your color. I'm going to add an orange pepper, some cherry tomatoes, and a red pepper. And just slice them up thin. I also like to add red onion, and I don't have any red onions, but onion's fantastic to include in any salad. Raw, it's like nature's antibiotic. It's got so many good antiviral, antiparasitic, antibacterial properties. It's great if you have a cold or if you feel a cold coming on, throw the onions in your salad. Scallions, onions, chives, leeks, shallots, all onions. I also like to try to incorporate colorful foods. So red onions, red peppers, a variety, orange peppers, yellow peppers, greens. The more colors you get, the more polyphenols and vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients you get. I know Adria is big on getting in lots of color. And a salad is really a great way to do it. If you've got a great dressing or something yummy to put on top of it, your good proteins. This salad would also be great with steak or fish. You don't have to stick with chicken. I think sometimes people get in a chicken rut. And I personally like steak a lot better and fish than chicken. So another thing, got some tomatoes. See me chop. Computer's sliding it. See a better view.
Everything looks so fresh that you have, Devin.
It is fresh. Well, I go to the store a lot of stores, a lot, too much. I know all the cashiers. And really a little work on a Sunday night or on a day off goes a long way. It's worth just making a big salad. Whatever you like. Purple cabbage is great to include also. So don't limit yourself to just carrots and or peppers and tomatoes. Carrots, great, anything. So we've got a base. Pretty quickly can put that together. We're going to make a spicy avocado dressing to go on this. It will make a lot. You'll have a whole jar for the week, and a little bit goes a long way. You really just don't need a lot of dressing. You'd be surprised how much it spreads. Also, a little tip, I'm not really a huge salad dressing fan. I'm lazy. I don't really like vinegar. So a lot of times I'll just most of the time, I'll take a fresh lime, squeeze it over my salad, chop up half of an avocado, throw it on, and maybe throw some hemp seeds on, something else, and that's it. And then kind of mash the avocado in, and it kind of makes its own little dressing anyway. So if you press for time, if you say to yourself, I'm not getting the blender out and making a dressing, or I don't feel like measuring things, you can do it so simply. A lime, an avocado, or a lemon, if you prefer lemon, and that's it. And that kind of makes its own little dressing for it. But we're going to get fancy today. So I've got my blender jar, and you can use any kind of blender for this. It doesn't have to be high powered. I've got an avocado, which is sliced down the middle. If you've never done avocado, and just stick your knife in, a little pit should fall out. And then thing it. If they're small avocados, I use 2. Here I'm just using 1. And you don't want to overdo avocado anyway, so this dressing is really a nice way of spreading out the avocado. I don't know, Julian might say a half of an avocado is too much to put on your salad.
Nope.
No?
Depends.
Okay. Then a 1/4 cup of lime juice. So that's about 2 limes if they're juicy. This one's not a particularly juicy one. The first one I juiced was super juicy. So I'm gonna get another 2. And I like this dressing also because it doesn't have oil. I think oil, you don't want to overdo oil either, even really good extra virgin olive oil. It's just, and I think vinegar. I don't know that you want to overdo vinegar either. I'm not sure where Adrian and Julian think on vinegar, but I like to have the lime juice alternative sometimes.
It's just the matter of how much, right? And when you cook professionally, you don't just pour stuff in there. You make it to taste, flavor. So no, it's perfect. It's not drinking apple cider vinegar.
No,
What people do.
I don't, no, that's not a good trend. Okay, that's that. We're gonna put a jalapeno in. So if you like spice, you want it to be plenty spicy, then just slice it up, leave the seeds in, and go. If you don't like spice, show you how quickly to slice it. Kind of take the ends off. You want a flat surface so it doesn't roll around on you, and just slice kind of around where the seeds are and get the green flesh. Just throw that in. The spice is in the seeds. So you'll get nice flavor from the pepper without the seeds. But if you like the spice, keep the seeds. And some water. Need about 3/4 of a cup water. And a bit of sea salt. That's about a teaspoon. That's it. So I'm going to blend. I'm going to put myself on mute for a minute just to blend this, and you can see how creamy it is, but it's really loud.
I think you could actually leave the sound so it sounds real and cooking and stuff, so no one would mind.
Thank you. She's muted.
Devin, can you unmute?
I'm sorry. You
There
missed
you go. You missed something.
It
looks good. Looks good though.
Nice and creamy. A little bit goes a long way. It will last you, it really should last you a week for your salads. I like to store these in 2-cup mason jar. I don't know if I have any back here. A small version of these. They're great for storing. They're also great for making salad dressings. Just give it a shake once you mix everything in. And that's it. I wish you could taste.
Oh, yeah. Feel like we can.
That's beyond our capabilities. So you've got your salad and the chicken. I don't have a camera over at the stove or anything since nobody's cooking along with me. We'll get probably about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how thick your slices are. On a hot skillet, I use a cast iron skillet. I drizzle a little bit of olive oil, maybe 1 tablespoon, extra virgin olive oil. I don't let it get screaming hot. You don't want extra virgin olive oil to smoke. And I just sizzle it up until it's cooked. And then you've got plenty of salad and chicken for the week with your dressing. And you can probably come up with other ways. You could use this dressing as a dip if you cut up veggies. Just have a quick snack. If snacks are encouraged, whatever you're doing, lots of ways to use this. If you make little veggie bowl with some protein of some sort, you can just drizzle it on top. So it's easy, and I definitely encourage you to do it. Blender.
Devin, how do you store the salad so it stays fresh? Because you said with the lettuce, it could be good for 4 days or something.
Yep, I store it in a Pyrex bowl like this with a lid. I'll show you the lid.
Okay.
Just like that. And sometimes I'll have one full of kale and one full of just lettuce, and then I can mix and match as I feel like for different salads. And I'm going to show you how to prep kale for salads also in a little bit. And one other thing that I encourage you to throw on all your salads is sprouts. These are broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are like broccoli times 100 in nutrition. So 1 cup of broccoli sprouts, they're very tiny. They're not offensive. Just sprinkle them, like my kids say, do you have to put sprouts on everything? And the answer is usually, yeah, I do, just a little bit. And they get used to just eating them on everything. They make a salad pretty. You can finish any dish with a little bit of sprouts. It doesn't have to be broccoli, arugula. Watercress is a great thing to use. Just the more little ways you can get these things in, the better. And if anybody lives in the Freehold area, there is a farm called Beyond Organic Growers. She's on Howell Road, and she's got a huge greenhouse. Her husband is the Reed Sod Farm guy, and she's got a big greenhouse behind her house and grows aeroponic greens. She's got microgreens and sprouts that you can buy. She's got a whole juice bar now set up. I think, Adria, you've been there, right?
Many times.
Yeah. A great resource for microgreens, sprouts, greens, herbs. She sells to restaurants, but she sells to the public as well.
And the greens are so fresh because they still have the roots intact. So when you bring them home, they are alive in your refrigerator for a while.
Yes.
It really retained, you know, by the time something is shipped to the supermarket, you've already lost a lot of the value. So this is really takes advantage of having things as if you grew them in your backyard. Even better because it's totally organic.
Yeah. And it's an experience to go there. It's beautiful. Sensory experience because it's so beautiful. And
she does weddings in the backyard. There are weddings and all kinds of events there.
Yeah. So check it out. I know everybody's short on time, but sometimes once you get into this a little, you just need a little inspiration. It's a good place to check out. So that's it. Our 3 components of our first salad are done. I think we'll do the Thai green curry sauce later next, because that will cook for about 10 minutes. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. I'm going to get rid of this dressing into another vessel.
And just take note of the fact that other than slicing the chicken, we're less than a half hour into this. That's how long it took. And she has food for 4 days.
Right.
So depending upon how much chicken you put in, you can have a lot of lunches and dinners. You know, 1 day of cooking could buy you a lot of time.
Yes.
A lot of meals.
And if any of you have anybody in your house who's remotely motivated, you know, it's fun to do it with somebody, you know, or a friend that's washing the greens. Washing greens is a pain in the neck. Something you just have to do because you love the greens and you know you have to eat them, and then you have to just wrap your head around it. But it's a pain in the neck. That's why I recommend that salad spinner. I'm just rinsing my blender jar here. And I'll start on number 2. Another green sauce. But this one's going to taste quite different. I'm going to include 2 jalapenos. So that one doesn't have the seeds, and then I'll include the seeds in the other one. I do like spicy, so I'll take those seeds. And shallots, some ginger, garlic. Shallots, you're just going to take the skins off. Toss those in.
Evan, can you just talk about like the different tastes of like shallots versus scallions versus leeks? Maybe when you use different ones.
Yes. So yes, if you went to France and you said, oh, shallots are just little onions, they would have a fit because their shallots are precious and not onions. So they're a milder flavor. You can use them in place of onions and you will elevate your food to a different level. Like when you're using shallots, you kind of get this restaurant quality to your food. They use shallots a lot in restaurants, in restaurant cooking, you know, more fine dining kinds of cooking. Green onions are scallions here. These are great raw. We don't really cook these. You might throw them in at the end of cooking time in a dish. We're going to use them raw on our Asian salad. There are yellow onions, white onions, which are your standard onions to use when a recipe calls for a diced onion and you're going to cook it down in a little bit of oil or butter. And chives are also related. Chives are also a great way to get the nutrients of onions in, but just sprinkled in as an herb. And they really almost just look like very teeny tiny mini green onions, you know. And they go like wild too. So good thing to throw in a pot, even if, you know, in the front porch or something in the summer. And leeks. So leeks, I don't have one here with me, but A leek is like a giant green onion. You use the white and the light green parts of a leek, and then the top part of the leek is really tough and dark green. That typically I just throw in the compost bin, and it's not really very useful. The other parts are sort of a tender, buttery taste, and great to use in soups. Great to just saute. Sometimes I'll throw them into roasted vegetables for the last 15 minutes. They cook very quickly. They cook quicker than onions, as do shallots. I don't know. What else? Did that cover it about onions?
I think so.
I'm going to peel a little ginger. No. Go in. That. About a 2-inch piece. Maybe a little bit more. Need the zest of a lime. So you can use, I have this zester here, but if you have a box grater, the little fine setting on the box grater is perfect for zesting a lime. When you zest a lime, you don't want to just go crazy back and forth, back and forth. You just want the green part. Once you get to the white part is really bitter. It's called the pith. So I usually just do one pass, and you can see the white already. So I don't go back over the white. You pretty much just zest the whole thing. You'll get tons of lime flavor. There's actually no lime juice in this. So you can use the lime juice for your avocado dressing. And that does it. Get all that pretty little zest, which smells so good, so limey. And a little bit of sea salt. And we're not going to use coconut sugar. We do sometimes balance this flavor, but it's not necessary. We need a whole can of coconut milk. So you want the full fat coconut milk. When you open it up the can, you'll get this lovely, all of the fat rises to the surface, and underneath is just this nice coconut water. And put all of it in. But a little trick, if you're ever feeling, well, if you ever are allowed, if you put this can in the fridge, all that fat will rise to the surface and it'll be cold. You can use a hand mixer and whiz it up and make your own whipped cream, put on strawberries. If you're having some sort of decadent adventure, no sweetener necessary. It's so good just on its own. I shouldn't talk of these things, whipped cream. But Julian's not saying anything, so maybe in the right scenario, it would be okay.
We should mute him when we talk about it.
He's very muted. He's not weighing
Excuse me?
And that's it. Some cilantro. I'm going to use the stems because they're super full of flavor and nutrition, so don't throw them away. And
cilantro is one of the best detox tools you could use. If you're eating mercury, shellfish, tuna, make sure you're eating shellfish. Make sure you're eating cilantro. If you go to the dentist and he does anything to your fillings, use cilantro. One of the best chelators and binders for mercury.
And I might argue, even if you're not actively eating fish, we're just exposed to so much that you need cilantro. Yeah. So yeah, become friendly with it. And if you're one of those people who says, oh, I hate it, it tastes like soap or whatever, just have one leaf a day. Get yourself used to it because it's worth it. And it makes this great green sauce. So here we go with the blender. I'm not muting this time. all whizzed up. You'll see it looks almost like a little broken because of how the coconut is, but once it starts heating, it'll all melt and go together and cook down into a nice creamy sauce. I'm going to let this sit on the stove on a simmer for about 10 minutes. That's all it needs. And it will be ready. You can jar it up at that point and use it for anything. You could, I like to, I'm going to chop up some veggies maybe. I like to take cauliflower, carrots, broccoli, zucchini, bok choy, and just get it all prepped ahead. And then you could steam it. You could saute it with a teeny bit of olive oil and maybe some water if it's sticking in a pan, and give it about 5 minutes or so, pour some sauce on it, give it about 5 more minutes just to warm up, and you're ready to go. Slide some salmon in there, chicken, steak, any kind of protein, and you've got a full meal with cooked veg instead of salad, or to go with the salad. Just a great flavorful way to get more veggies in. So your cat, Adria, I'm gonna put this on the stove and let it come to a simmer while I make the last dressing.
He loves Zoom. Yeah, loves to look at everybody.
Yeah, there's something about the heat of the computer, I think.
He likes the people.
People. Oh, and I forgot about radishes. I wanted to add radishes to my first salad, the fajita salad. Radishes, if you're not really friends with radishes, also a good idea to make friends with them. Kind of spicy, watery, crunchy, such a great vegetable, great root. They're red, so you know they're full of great phytochemicals and lots of good things. You can, if they're too much for you in circles, you can just cut them into these little sticks and add them to your salads. So another little tip, don't walk away from the radishes when you see them at the store. I think they're kind of an underrated vegetable. I don't know why, because sometimes root vegetables get overlooked, I think, but this is not a starchy root vegetable, and it's so good for you.
It's also a crucifer, so it's in the same family as broccoli and cabbage. And
yes.
So, but you don't have to cook it. It's easy.
Yes, you don't. And it's not broccoli. So if you don't love broccoli, try radishes.
And it's great for dips too.
And there's watermelon radish. That's insane.
What is?
Watermelon radish.
Oh, watermelon radishes, they didn't have them. I wanted to get some. They're beautiful because when you slice into them, you get this whole array of color, pinks and oranges, and they're absolutely beautiful. So they look great on a salad or a platter. And so much of eating is, not just what we taste, but what we smell, what we see, what we feel. So part of cooking is satisfying because you're actually got your hands on the food, on the vegetables, and that's good for us too. So radishes, don't forget about the radishes. Okay, our final salad, we're going to switch over to Asian flair. We've got dressing. Maybe I'll start with the dressing this time. Yeah, I'm going to rinse this. We've got a dressing made that's kind of a sesame ginger. It's a great dressing for lettuces that hold up. So you want to use the Napa cabbage for sure if you see it. Purple cabbage is good in there. I like to use kale because that's a hardy green that holds up to dressings, and it actually gets better with dressings. The dressings kind of break down the fibers a little bit and make kale a little bit more palatable. For those who don't find it to be palatable. So we're going to add, and this dressing can also be used as a marinade for salmon or chicken, anything really. It's a great salad with steak. So I'm going to use toasted sesame oil. And so I've got tamari and I've got coconut aminos. How do you, Adria and Julian, where are you on on the soy versus using coconut aminos. Thoughts? I don't know if people have direction from you on that kind of thing.
We haven't really taken people off soy entirely. I think if they don't have a problem with it, using it in something like this.
If you don't drink it.
Gotcha. Okay, so perfect. All right, we'll use, I'll use half and half, actually.
Just understand that soy sauce has gluten, so we usually get the ones that are gluten-free.
Yeah, this is a gluten-free tamari. I don't have gluten. Hold on, I'm gonna need a spoon here. Okay, so 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And this recipe doesn't make a ton. So if you are making a big salad and planning to have it for the week, double it. You'll be glad you did. As long as you have everything out once, why do it twice? It's the sesame, and then it's 3. I'm actually going to use apple cider vinegar because my brown rice vinegar disappeared. I don't know what. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a run on it at the house, so I don't know where it went, but I couldn't find it. Apple cider vinegar works, but brown rice vinegar and coconut vinegar are great options. Tamari. And if you don't like soy or you're allergic to it, coconut aminos are a great alternative. But it's not super salty, so you might end up needing to add a little pinch of salt if you use that. We're going to leave out the raw honey, 1 clove of garlic. Where am I going? This.
I love how you do that. You kind of smash it and that opens it.
Well, it does. It just releases the paper so that the paper slides off. And when you're using a blender, you don't need to chop it, but it also kind of breaks it down even to chop it. And if you mince your garlic, and I've read this in a number of places now, but if you mince your garlic about 15 minutes or longer before you use it, it will retain all of its health benefits when you cook it. So there's something about this slicing the garlic and then it's basically trying to heal itself and close up. So it's retaining all of its nutrients. So if you have the forethought, I don't always have the forethought to mash up all my garlic before I'm going to use it, but it's something to keep in mind. So in goes the ginger and that's it. We're going to blend. Dressing. You can see it doesn't make as much as the avocado dressing did, but it's a nice, you can see me, a nice color. It smells great. And a little bit goes a long way with this dressing as well. So, you know, some people like dressing more than, my kids routinely tell me I'm an underdresser. I don't put enough dressing on the salad, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. All right. So for this, I couldn't find Napa cabbage anywhere. Hopefully you have better luck. So I'm going to use kale. This is lacinato kale. It's also called black kale, Tuscan kale, dino kale. So you can kind of see why it has all of those names. It's textured.
And by the way, for Napa cabbage, you can go to Asian market in Marlboro. And yeah, they always have it. And there's great food there. There's different mushrooms that you will pay 5 times more in Whole Foods for, which they sell for nothing. So there's a lot of food there.
Great to know. And is it it's not Asian and Indian, just?
It's Asian. It's more of Chinese, Japanese.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. Okay. I I'm going to show you how to dismantle this and really make it usable. Take each leaf, hold the stem, and just strip it. Okay, stems are never going to break down. Even if you have a high power blender, there's always just going to be a bit of fiber that you don't want, but especially in a salad. We're not designed, I don't know, I think you have to be a cow with 4 stomachs to take care of those stems. And really, an entire head of kale and an entire head of Napa cabbage will make a great big salad for you. Enough for the week, for sure. So in a perfect world, I'd spin it dry, but right now I'm actually just going to show you how to slice. So I kind of stack the leaves. My sauce is boiling. I'm just going to give it a, turn it down here. Okay, and then you can see, I'm going to roll it up like a cigar, and then just, it's really like, it's called a chiffonade. And you get these nice pieces that are really manageable, right? Instead of having bite-sized pieces like this in your salads that you kind of have to chew and you don't really know what to do with. So this is a great way to slice your kale and make it more appealing. I'm going to put it all in here so I can spin it. I'm going to mix it today with romaine because romaine will hold up to this dressing as well. And once down the middle. I find that people sometimes have a hard time with kale. They buy it, they want to like it, and they get home and they just go, I don't know what to do with it. So slicing it this way, you can add it to soups. You can add it to any salads. We're using a hearty dressing, but if you were just going to have a light salad and you wanted to mix it with some red leaf lettuce, I would put all your kale together first and sprinkle a little lemon juice on it and massage it. Really just rub that lemon juice in. The lemon juice will start to break down the fibers and will also sort of preserve it. So you could keep your massaged kale also for days in the fridge in a separate container and use it for anything. Throw it in a soup, throw it in a hot dish, serve your hot salmon on a bed of it. You could steam it. I just like to eat it raw in salads. I think the salad spinner is my single most useful, most well-loved kitchen item that I own. It just saves me so much time. I'm getting a bowl here. Start to build our salad. We'll mix the kale in. Put some of our romaine in. I'm really sorry about the Napa cabbage. I wanted to show you how to use that. I don't think it's something that people too readily pick up from the produce section and say, yeah, I'm going to use this. You can use the whole head and just make a giant salad from it. It's also great in soups and stir fries. You could throw it in with your vegetables and add your Thai sauce or a cooked version, but it's a really great nutritious way to get all the benefits of cabbage, also in the same family as broccoli and radishes, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. Okay, you got the idea. Just fill your bowl as high as you can. Add your scallions and slice up some of those next. And in scallions, I just slice off the hairy ends. And the most important thing to remember when you're doing all this chopping is to keep your hands like this. I tell the kids, bear claw, hold it like a bear claw, because then you won't slice your fingertips. You'll always just bump up against your knuckles, and you can't slice your fingertips off that way. That's my night safety tip for the night.
No, we don't allow bagels. That's where everyone does themselves in.
On the bagels? Oh yeah.
They're very dangerous, the bagels.
Never should be eating those. They're the work of the devil. All right. It's too bad they taste good. Let's see. Carrots also. I'm always thinking about colors, textures, shapes when I make salads. The more variety I have, the more interesting the salad is. Interesting to eat, interesting to look at. So I like to do little sticks, little matchsticks. There's a little more work involved. You could just shred your carrots. You could slice little rounds. I like the sticks because they're a different shape. So I kind of, slice each little quarter into smaller sticks.
Devin, your knife looks so amazing. What kind of knives do you use?
This is a global knife, and I've got two of them. Between the two, everything I need to do, I can do with these, and a paring knife. I have this little guy too. These are useful all the time.
I'm going to write that down.
I just like the way it felt in my hand. I mean, I think the best way to pick a good knife for yourself is to go to a store like a Williams Sonoma or a Sur La Table, where they let you get your hands on it and ask for somebody to help you and just put your hands on all the different knives. I like a nice big one for slicing all the greens. But other than that, it makes some people nervous to use a knife this long. They make them in all different sizes. So having a good knife is half the battle with all this chopping. And keeping it sharp is also important. And it's safer. If you're hacking away because your knife's not sharp, you're more apt to just whack a finger. Oh, I've done that. It's not fun. One more of these. Again, can you see it? I cut it in threes. And then from there, you don't really want to chop things when they're round. So you break them down so you can put it on a flat surface and go from there. Your sticks. This salad would be good with, again, seafood, steak, chicken, whatever your proteins are that you like. Vary it up. I like to add a little crunch with almonds and sesame seeds. And again, I throw everything on top, but it's awfully nice to have carrots in a section, almonds in a section, scallions in a section, sesame seeds in a section. And, if you're presenting it, it's a great thing to bring to a meal when you have to go to a family event and maybe not everybody is signed on to your way of eating. When you bring a big, beautiful salad with a delicious dressing that you can eat, you're set because you have the base for any meal. And usually, you can have a little of whatever protein they're serving. And in the meantime, you've brought this beautiful salad to share with everybody else and inspire everybody else with. So that's it. Toss your dressing in. And of course, you just want to take out what you're using at the time, because if you toss it all up, the Napa cabbage will hold up for another day or so, but it's better to just put the fresh dressing on each time you have the salad. And let's see, I'm going to bring my sauce back over here because that should be done. You can see by the rim on my bowl, on my pot, how much it's reduced. It's nice and silky now. but not super thick and heavy. And it's ready. So at this point, you could jar it up and have it for a couple of different meals. Add it to any kind of vegetables. I mean, if you're roasting some fish, you could throw some broccoli, cauliflower, carrots also on the pan, roast it all up, put it in a bowl, and drizzle some dressing over it. You could cook some broccoli and cauliflower and zucchini and carrots and bok choy in the sauce and do it that way. Also steam the vegetables and just add your sauce. It's so flavorful that you don't need to do too much to the vegetables at all. And great for great little flavorful for fish, for chicken. We'll just add a zing to everything. I wish I'd let you taste it. That's the proof. The proof is in the tasting. And I don't know, I think that's it, unless you have questions.
Before question, oops. Can you just tell everyone a little bit about your business, what you do? So if anyone is interested, because Devon's been a huge help to a lot of my patients. We work with a lot.
I started really, I was an English teacher before I had my kids, and then I was home with kids and just cooking for us and for our health and for any little health thing that came up. I had my own health things before I even had kids that I kind of started digging and saying, all right, no doctors can help me with this. I'm on my own. And I just dove in. And I, again, was determined to make food taste really good and be really satisfying because I didn't want to be deprived because I love eating. So that's really where it started. And then when I was home with kids, I found I'd be talking at the playground about food, and people were always talking about feeding toddlers and how to get your kids to eat this and that. And I just would end up in conversation all the time, and people would say, well, what do you do? Why do your kids eat all that stuff? And it's really less is more, especially with kids. But there's really not that much involved with what I did today. If I took the vegetables, I washed them, and I, added a little bit of something, but it's really mostly chopping vegetables is the most work. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. And so I would try to, convince people, oh no, try this. I'd write down a little recipe for something. And then my husband was working with a nutritionist about 15 or so years ago. And I started realizing there's a big hole. That he was very successful. And I think his doctor was like, you're the ideal patient, because I just made everything taste good. It was satisfying. He wasn't deprived. He was just cruising along, doing his triathlons and feeling great. And I started realizing we had friends at the time who were also seeing the same guy, and she really wasn't too able to stick with it. They weren't there weren't tools. So it was, the nutritionist would say, do this. And then people would go home and go, and it'd be overwhelming to get in the kitchen unless you're steeped in doing kitchen stuff. So I started thinking there was some place for me to be able to help people in that. And then a little further down the line, I just said, okay, I'm just gonna put an email out to my friends, and I'm gonna host a class in my house, soups. It was January, and people came. So then from there, just kind of spun into its own thing. As a former teacher, I'm very comfortable with kids and working with kids. So kids classes became a thing, and a local restaurant owner in town said, oh, you have to use I was working with the kids at school, an after school enrichment thing. And he said, you have to use my space after school. So I then had his space from 3 o'clock on to do kids classes in. And then that just blew up into its own thing, and birthday parties. And I've done things at nurseries and demos in libraries for seniors who want quick, easy, healthy tips for cooking for one. And then I met Adria with a friend of mine, like you said. And so, yeah, I've worked with private clients as well. And I try to stay away from catering. That's not really where my gifts lie. I can do it, but it's immensely stressful. And it's not really, I find the joy in helping other people discover how easy it is to do and improve their health. So yeah, I guess mostly I'm still a teacher, just with food as the medium.
So basically patients who need to get organized would have talk to Devin ahead of time. We all are involved in the planning. And she really understands what people are supposed to eat for the most part. But if they have food allergies, we have a conversation. And then she usually goes to their home and just helps them. So you're empowered to do it yourself as opposed to just having, it never works if someone's just cooking for you. It's short term, it's super expensive. You need to know how to do it. But all these little tricks of the trade are things you can repeat and just make this so much more interesting.
Yeah, I've gone to the grocery store with people. I've, really taken people from exactly where they are and been able to kind of step by step, if they keep at it, when we work together in the kitchen, we're cooking. So we're talking about things, but we're also cooking and getting them prepped for the week. So they're picking up, the more you do it, the more you get used to doing it. The idea is that, like Adria said, it's not really sustainable to have somebody do it for you. And it's extremely expensive to operate that way. So when you have control over the ingredients yourself and in the prep, then you always have power because you can take care of yourself.
And she has a cooking class this week, right? Is it this week, your soup class?
I had a few. I have one tomorrow, soups. I'm doing soups.
I posted it on my Facebook page.
Oh, you did? Thank you. And that's it. So that's what I do.
Well, we can't thank you enough. I can't wait to buy. I didn't buy the ingredients yet. I'm a delinquent. I worked all week, but I'm off this weekend and everybody's going to have a treat because I swear I plan to make every single thing. My mouth is watering watching this.
Good. And really,
this was amazing.
Good.
Yeah. We have questions there.
Mm-hmm.
Jim is asking.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just intrigued. There was no curry ingredient, right? Particularly, like I've bought curry paste, to try to do my curry dishes, but basically curry itself is not an ingredient or a spice. You're kind of just creating it.
Curry is curry is really a soup. It's a soupy dish. That's curry. And the spices that go into curry are different. In a Thai curry, there are different spices than in an Indian curry. Indian curries we have a garam masala spice, which is cloves and cinnamon and cumin and coriander. And curry spice is delicious. It's not actually really an authentic Indian spice that they use. They mix up different spices for different curries.
I always heard that, but never
it doesn't really
put it together.
I'm still learning about curries. I love curries of all kinds, and I'm diving in more and realizing, and learning about those spices. So there's a place for the curry paste, though. I mean, you can make your own paste, but that's another whole level of throwing in a food processor your ginger, your fenugreek, your lemongrass, your whatever the curry happens to be that you're making a paste for. So those pastes are very handy to have, and they're helpful too. So if you have a recipe that calls for a curry paste, don't hesitate to use it. You don't have to make it yourself.
Awesome. Thank you, Devin. This was wonderful. I definitely want to know about those soups.
Oh, well, I'll always share recipes for sure. Maybe along the lines, we'll do a little soup night. Zoom.
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
But if you are fairly local and you wanted to come to a class, you can always go to my website and sign up to get emails. And
you got it.
I send out blasts when I'm having classes. I have a calendar on my website. And Julian was witness to my very horrible tech skills earlier this evening. So I try to get my website, and my email list is probably the best way to get the up-to-date information. But
Devin, it's just Devin's Kitchen.
Thank you.
Devin'sKitchen.net. Yep, Devin'sKitchen.net. And you can always ask me questions. You can shoot me a text or an email, and if you're stuck in the kitchen trying to do one of these things and you have a question, just ask.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Perfect. Anyone else has any questions?
Very good. Yeah, I love the whole, just seeing you do the dressings was a bit of a revelation for me.
Oh, good.
You know, because I just, no, I haven't been there. So just to see the ease of you throwing all that good stuff in a blender, and really the salad spinner, I can see why that's a game changer. So these things are just so helpful.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. And really, most dressings, if you want to mince your garlic down and mince your ginger and then shake it all in a jar, you could really do that too if you don't want to deal with the blender. But I find the blender easy for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And again, just an avocado and a lime is also all you need if you don't even want to deal with the dressing.
Yeah. It's tempting not to ask what your address is to taste some of this stuff before bed, but we're not going to go there.
Well, I'll be out cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah, right.
I thought you were going to propose, Jim. That would have been even easier. That would save a lot of time.
Too fast, Adrian. Come on.
Yeah, text me with your questions first.
I also love the idea of bringing a salad. I always do that because you never know what's going to be available when you go to someone's house. And the worst thing is to be there for hours and starving, because it's really hard to not eat anything when you're in that situation. I mean, I usually eat something beforehand, but if you're there for a while, it's nice to be able to have something where you can share with everyone, but there's always something that you can fall back on. And usually there is a protein, but worst case scenario, at least you don't starve to death if there isn't.
Right. Yeah. Because really salad can be pretty filling, especially if you've put nuts and seeds in it and avocado or whatever. And it's nice to be able to share in a meal, to sit down at a table and be the one person not eating anything because, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that. You know, that's just awkward and nobody wants to draw attention to that. And it doesn't feel good. It feels nice to share. So bringing a salad.
Exactly.
I don't share my salads.
All right, I think, are we all set? No more questions? Here's your chance, everybody. Don't want to pick a brain? Anything else? Okay. Well, Devin, really, this was, of course, as usual, wonderful. And it's so nice since COVID, we haven't been able to do these kind of big events in the offices. Nobody wants to stand that close to each other yet. But hopefully soon, spring will come, we could start getting back to normal a little bit.
Yes. I'm doing hands-on classes in my house, just so you know, if you were to come to a class.
Oh, okay, good.
Around the counter talking and, you know, cooking. So.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Unmasked.
This is great. You should let us know when and where, and we'll put it in the group as well, so people know if anyone is not on it.
Yeah, check out the website and get on my email list is the best way to find out. And I mean, I can always let Adrian know what I'm doing, but you see it.
Yeah, as soon as I see it, I always post it on my page too, but I'll post it in the
I'm not
group
very
as well.
good at posting. Again, see earlier comment about the tech, but it just, you know, whatever. I just fly under the radar a little bit, but I do have an Instagram and a Facebook, so you can get the gist, the kinds of things I do to check.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. And thanks everybody for showing up.
And guys, please don't run away, because for those who want to talk, who have questions, I do want to give support, especially to your team. So, and Devin, you're welcome to stay, of course.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. You're welcome to.
I'm gonna be here anyway.
We're not kicking you out.
Leave it up and I'll do dishes.
But again, thank you so much. This was amazing. And we have a recording of this. I will send you the link to this so you have it and you can, like edit and use for your purposes, and we'll put it in the group so you guys have everything for those who didn't attend as well. And we're going to switch to the place where we want to hear from you guys, at least shortly. How is the week going, and how are the things working out for you? And I'm going to pick people on purpose. So Donna asking, how are the things going with you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was pretty sick last week, but I really worked on my diet, what I was eating. I just didn't track anything. Today I spent the whole day learning how to do everything. The only thing I don't know how to do is send on my measurements.
Okay. So you can email them to me.
Just email them. Okay, that's fine.
Or in the chronometer, there is message icon and I put video how to use it. And that would be the best way.
Where's the message item? Is that on the left side or is it?
In the home screen of the app, there is message.
Okay.
And I can tag you in the post where there's a video that shows this is how you get there.
Okay.
How are the changes? So I see you did start tracking today. What happened this week that is different from before?
What happened with me, within 24 hours, I had no cravings. Amen. It's hard to eat the food. Like you said, I was surprised when you said it. You have to eat at least 2 meals. It's hard to eat all this food. But it's crazy. I'm a sugar addict, 100%.
No, you're not. You decided that you are. This is a story you're telling yourself, but you're not.
Oh, thanks for that. But it's great. I have no cravings and I love it.
Amazing. I think that's a perfect
I'm not hungry.
Idea. Sorry.
I also wanted to say that Donna was really successful with me at the beginning. And she stuck with this. She did amazing. So I know you could do it again.
Well, I'm motivated.
Let's go.
Yes.
We're glad to have you. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Margarita, I'm putting you on the spot. How are the things?
Okay. I have lots of cravings. So I like food and sweet. No, not a lot of sweets and stuff. I miss my wine. I miss just milk product like yogurt, miss that, whatever. But it's going okay. It's just taking me more time to get organized around.
In less than a week.
Excuse me?
It's been less than a week.
Yeah, you need to be really organized, not to be bored with the food. So I'm being good about eating all the right things. It's just that I want to get more creative, so I'm not bored with the food, and that this becomes a lifelong plan for me. I have a quick question. I know that outside of berries, we should not be having fruit, but we can have lemon and lime. Is that correct? That's
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, you can have 3 a day, but you have to chew them.
I mean, I use a lot.
You see, no one can overdose on that. That's totally fine.
And we don't have to put any quantities for lemon and limes.
Yes, you have to. So
I have not been
you
doing.
track everything you consume.
Okay.
But you can.
Okay.
Right. So it's a difference, and that's great. Right.
Okay.
Eat, enjoy.
The other thing that I miss, because I told you I was a honey addict, is honey. I'm using 1 teaspoon right now, which I know I shouldn't be using any, but I was using, tablespoons worth of honey daily. So that's a big reduction for me.
That's a huge progress. I agree. And I salute you for that. I do want to say, and it comes probably, it has nothing to do with food in general, but the moment you say, I'm an addict, and I need this. So you are creating a story for yourself.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
And you decided that you are. If you remove it, you will still be fine, totally. Also, by having the teaspoon, not that there's anything wrong with a teaspoon of honey by itself, but in this context, by you having that, it might, maybe in the short term, tell you, okay, maybe not 1 teaspoon, maybe 2. Because it's not, maybe then a tablespoon, and maybe, okay, like I can't, right? And so this is why, like, I'm against that for maybe psychological reasons, rather than having a teaspoon of, because, like if I have a teaspoon of honey, like whatever, like I move, I don't think about it.
It's like someone quitting smoking and having.
Yes. Let me have just like half a cigarette.
I totally get that, but I used it on my yogurt and I used it with tea a lot. So the lemon question was important to me because I'm putting a lot more lemon in my tea in place of the honey. So, and you're better. I still need to track that anyway, though.
No, if you're squeezing lemon in your tea, there's nothing to track.
Okay.
If you have half a lemon, you want to track it just to see what it gives you in terms of carb, but there's nothing there. If you
I use a lot of lemon, so.
Then it's not a tea anymore. We need to find a new name for that.
Lemonade.
Lemonade with a splash of tea. Yes.
You know, once you put the honey in hot tea, you've negated all the health benefits anyway.
Oh, really? I did not know.
I didn't know that either until about 2 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, that's a thank you for sharing that with me, because that's
It's on I put a whole post on that on my Facebook page because it was a shock to everybody.
I did not know that. Thank you for letting me know, but it's going well. I just need to, you know, add more things in it so I don't get bored, but
okay.
I'm doing the things you do.
That was the idea of tonight. Exactly. Just to see how easy it is to flavor things.
Yeah. It was great. Thank you for inviting Devin.
My pleasure.
Perfect. And Mike Brantley, computer's asking for meeting code, but you're inside, you're here. Do you still need a code? You can write, but we can see you.
No, I thought you didn't want us doing the Zoom from the phone, so that's why I was trying to.
Oh no, because just phone is asking you for code if you don't use the link.
Okay, so I'll just stay where I am.
You're here, so
You're here.
Okay. All right.
you can open the screen if you prefer the camera, so we can see you. But totally up to you. This time, unless
I'm cleaning up my kitchen.
That's good. We do want to see you.
Did you cook? Is that why you're cleaning?
No, I'm just cleaning up my kitchen from dinner.
Okay, no worries. Who else? Irene, how is it going?
I'm cooking for the family. You want to know what I'm cooking?
Sure.
Go ahead. Surprise us.
Scallops with garlic lemon pasta for my husband. And my son wants spicy cayenne chicken cutlets with mashed potatoes.
Oh my God.
And what are you having? What are you having?
I'm just going to have scallops and salad.
Okay.
That sounds good. We just had octopus.
But let me tell you, I'm struggling because I don't think I'm going to be able to sustain this diet as a lifestyle.
Okay.
So I was actually talking to someone and we were discussing this. And is it losing the weight, getting to the point where you feel comfortable and then adopting some version of this diet? Or I'm not sticking to it forever.
So nothing is forever, right? Like nothing is forever.
Well, for you said it. This is it. This is your life. Julian.
Yes and no. You don't know what my life is, right? You haven't been.
Well, only when you tell us. Only when you tell us.
But then again, if the goal is to sustain certain weight, you will still depend on a certain amount of calories either way when you reach it, the goal. And it means that by then you will be able to eat way less than you're able to eat now.
True, but I do catch myself realizing that, whoa, just like that Dr. Adria was saying, I don't get enough protein a day. So thanks for that.
And guys, I have a new client. He's a very prominent gynecologist, OBGYN, and I'm not going to he's a TV personality. The guy is eating around 250 grams of protein a day and almost zero carb and zero fat. And by calories, it comes out to kind of insane amount. He's 12% body fat, he's hypothyroid, he should gain weight. He's not, because what he's eating is mostly just a lot of protein, a lot. And you cannot get fat from protein, okay? So protein is very important for like so many reasons. So eat your protein.
I am.
Eat your protein. It has nothing to do with, this diet, that diet. It doesn't matter. If you are healing yourself, if you get into the place where you want to be and you eat enough protein from there, you keep on eating enough protein, it will be hard for you to go and eat crap unless you decide to. Right. And this is why you always choose protein first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like, don't look at this as a diet or kind of, this is short term, it's boot camp. And right now you're looking at this as, I cannot do it forever.
Yeah.
But also, you know, that never say never, because you don't know. I said, I will never track my food. This is impossible. I will never stop eating pasta because this is all I eat. I will blah, 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 blah. All that is gone. Like, I will never go and lift weights because it's dumb, right? Like, why would I do it? So many, many things. So just go with the flow. You don't know where you will get. You have no idea.
Very true.
When I walked into Dr. Adria's office, I don't know, 6 years ago, I had no idea we're going to be here. And it's definitely not, you know, not something I could have imagined, right? But this is where we are. And my diet is good for me. So this is what I'm doing. It's not this some kind of defined thing. I eat things that are good for me for long term. And I don't ever want to get sick or obese or whatever, or even wake up in the morning tired. It's not an option for me. It's like very simple. And as you go, your goals will change. And I'm talking to all of you, by the way, right? I'm not talking to just Irene. So don't look at this as it's forever or not. Just do it. It's a process. And if it's good for you, you will stick with it for longer. Okay? Don't create a picture in your head where it's restrictive or things like that, because you simply don't know where you're going to get. Look at the positive side and not negative side. It's not that hard. And if anyone says I cannot, yes, you can. There's nothing you cannot do in this, in like, at least in this way, right? Because if suddenly your health will depend on it, or you whatever, like, you will do it. So for most of you, I just don't want for your health to start depending on that, where doctor says either you do this or like we hospitalize you or what, like something else. You can do it now. So just look at the bright side of life, as they say. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Great. Jim, how's it going for you?
It's going great. Audrey, am I correct? At one point I heard you say people are going to find it very difficult to eat enough carbs or eat enough fiber. Does that sound right? Or am I telling myself that story because I'm having a hard time eating enough fiber?
I think that's pretty much everyone's challenge in the beginning.
Okay.
But if you eat enough vegetables, and, you know, even I'm also for some berries too, you know, because those add up.
Yep.
You'll get there. I mean, always keep an eye on that fiber. And what'll happen is as your gut starts to get used to all these vegetables, our body adapts with digestive enzymes. Like if you move to India all of a sudden and ate all different foods, you get a bellyache for a while until you start getting used to it. It's the same with this. And that's why I think what you're referring to is on maybe the last call. I said, maybe start with some more cooked vegetables. Like Julian was showing, you know, a lot of raw stuff, and he could do it because he's been doing it. But for most people, when they're first starting, this is such a 180 that so you can do it comfortably. You start with more, like that's where the soups come in so handy. I love the idea, because the more you cook something, it's a lot easier. Even juices, and I'm not talking about a juice with 10 apples and a bit of kale, which is like what you go to Delicious Orchards and drinking a sugar drink. I'm talking, you put some lemon in, you know, you're flavoring it with ginger, and you're doing some greens and some cucumbers and celery. I find, even personally, if I decide in the morning to eat all that raw, it would be a lot for me. But if I throw it in a juice, I could drink it, take my time, drink it over an hour or so, and get a few more servings in without even feeling it. And you feel great when you do that too. It just really makes you feel great to start the day with a nice greens juice. A lot of times I do that while I'm talking to patients, and it keeps my energy up for a while. So, you know, there's little tricks of the trade, but you'll see when you hit certain good days on your chronometer, if you hover your mouse over the fiber bar, you know,
Yes.
it tells you what the sources were. So you go, oh, look how much fiber I got from this today. And then to repeat.
Yes. No, that's super good. Thank you. Generally, it's going very well. I am blown away by the app. I never understood doing exactly what you said. I'm hovering. I'm like, that's what that all is. I'm sorry. I'm getting a call. I hope you can't hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can. Oh, okay, good. So, yeah, it's going great. I love the app. It's fascinating. I have no problems getting protein. Getting to 110 and being okay with it, which I think Julian said. And yeah, I look forward to it. I'm doing hitting the scale and getting the tape out tomorrow, which I think for me, it's about a week. I was just a day behind or so. So,
okay.
You know, I'm really enjoying it. Tonight was just so informative, and I got new places to shop. I got new things to buy to help me get it done, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense. I really appreciate the approach, and obviously the folks have been doing this. You can see that everybody's on track. So I appreciate it. And I think I'm doing well. I guess we'll know more tomorrow when we hit the scale and check out the tape, but it feels good. Feels good. I'm optimistic no matter what that says.
And we're glad to see you, you know, on the Facebook page. You and Irene, you know, are the newbies who've been more interactive, a little bit with Margarita. Feel free to use that. It's fun and everybody encourages each other. And Julie and I are pretty receptive. If you have a question, usually one of us gets back to you pretty quickly. So take advantage of that.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Guys, who I'm not going to call out the rest. If anyone wants to ask something, say something, talk about anything, go ahead.
So I've hit a plateau. I think it's just a momentary plateau.
What is the plateau?
My weight kept diving down. I hit a spot and I said, all right, I'm not losing my normal weight now, and I'm not changing anything. And so now I'm toggling a few things to see if I can get back to a standard deviation here, because it's weird. It just stopped the weight loss and the eating has been the same. But I wasn't perfect.
You lost size.
Oh yeah, I'm losing size. That's the weird thing. I said, all right, I'm not doing any kind of muscle mass gain, but if I saw my weight like just teeter at a level.
So you're not plateauing at all. It's not a plateau. Plateau is when nothing is changing for 30 days, nothing, not up, not down, you're stuck. If you lose in size, you lose in weight.
No, but that's the thing. My weight is staying the same. The size is changing, but the weight itself is, well, mass is mass. I mean,
mass is the sum of what you have inside, and not of your fat. So imagine if you're losing size, you are losing fat.
But if you're losing fat, you'd lose weight.
Not necessarily. You will see it, because if you are right, like you lost all the water, inflammation, a lot of stuff. Now imagine how much food you consume a day in weight, and drink water, right? Liquids. How much weight it can be total.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, because I do take a monthly shot for migraines, which has a momentary side effect, which creates me to back things up for a bit for about a week to 2 weeks. So I'm thinking it's related, directly correlated to that.
I don't think so. I think your rate is amazing, and you're looking at the number on the scale, which is meaningless. And what was it? Think about you went and had a gallon of water.
The same thing happened to me this week, David. I didn't lose any weight, but I lost almost an inch.
Yeah, it's weird.
So
it's not. And I probably should have a call about it or just discuss it.
Now, I did have a couple homemade espresso martinis at a 60th birthday party for my wife, but
so that can make you bloat and retain
You're only
water.
61, so
I thought that was one a month. What happened?
No, it was more than one.
Guys, I do encourage you not to get stuck on the scale as a number, and think about this. You were thirsty, you had a glass of water. That's quarter, like that can be half a pound, a pound.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm retaining something.
You cannot predict what will happen. You can go and eat nothing that day and gain weight, or you can go eat a bunch of garbage and lose weight. It's not anything that you should be dealing with, but do look at the weekly average. And this is why I do encourage everyone to measure weight daily, and you will see how it goes up and down all the time. It will be like this, but the trend should be down.
And then the other thing is, it's just proteined out. And by the way, don't underestimate the ability for arugula to ruin a really good smoothie. I made that mistake. But protein, I mean, I'm just tons of salmon, tons of beef. At some point, you just like, it's like a protein overload.
Agree.
Don't push it, don't stuff yourself. And if you have hard time eating, let us know. And do remember that food that you just mentioned, it has weight. And when you eat, half a pound of something, that stays in you for 3 days.
Yeah.
Give or take, right?
Yeah, well,
that's the water.
Well, hence the other thing, going back to the fiber discussion we were having, I'm trying to get that up more to, make things, because I can't eat apple or other things I used to eat with fiber. So
not that apple has a lot of fiber. Well,
I used to eat a lot of different vegetables and stuff. I mean, fruits and stuff but my go-to thing on things like that, oddly enough, was licorice, true licorice extract, or a cup of coffee in lieu of fiber.
So there's 4 things you need to poop. You need fiber, you need water, you need enough magnesium, and you need to move your body. And so usually if people do those 4 things, we've cured these chronic constipation. Oh, my doctor said my colon is twisted. I can't go to the bathroom. And then suddenly, lo and behold, I had a poor person who was getting Botox, rectal Botox, just so she could go to the bathroom. And I'll never forget this. I gave her magnesium, and she comes back in like a week later. She plops the magnesium on the table, and she says, and she has scleroderma. So that's a pretty bad disease. It kind of causes fibrosis. So you really can't. I thought maybe it wouldn't work. And she puts it on the table, and I thought she's returning it, saying it didn't work. And she goes, $12, I'm cured. And I'll never forget that because it was too easy. I was like, oh my God, nobody told you. Everyone made it so complicated. She had really low magnesium levels. And you can't really overdose on magnesium unless you're a masochist, because if you really overdose, you'd be pooping your brains out. So, I have patients take a couple of magnesium capsules at night just to speed things along. You poop in the morning, you feel a lot better. But the fiber, the water, and sitting on your butt all day and not moving is not going to work. And I know you run, so this isn't you. It's just in general, it's important to have mobility leads to motility. So you have to move yourself.
And it's just a dreadful side effect. I mean, it only lasts about a week. So I'm waiting to get out of that week range right now. I mean, it doesn't matter what I drink, it's just, they tell you that's the only negative side effect of this drug that I'm using.
There's probably something that it does, depletes you from something or whatever, like we can do research, because it does nothing, does something, and there's no explanation.
Well, short story, prior to this injection jug, I was on another migraine medicine. They said the side effects were weight loss. And then he said, but there's memory loss. I said, memory loss? They said, yeah, you'll lose IQ points. And I said, I don't believe that. I dropped like 20 pounds in no time, but I lost. I mean, I couldn't remember friends from 30 years I've been hanging with their names. I just went blank. It was horrible.
Well, that's a bad side effect.
I'd rather have migraines.
Anyway, but that's it. And I mean, I'm not making my total numbers for calories, but I think that's just a matter of getting proteined out, and I'm just, the appetite just kind of hovers.
appetite also, like it's supposed to go down a little too, in general, or a lot. Yeah. Because otherwise you would just keep on eating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Adrian, to your point, I don't post on, I don't use Facebook. I mean, I glance at it. I won't post anything on it. You won't find me on any social media. It's just the nature of what I used to do for a living that I don't use any of those social medias. So don't take it as a slight or anything.
We respect that.
Okay. And if you want to hear some war stories, I can share with you offline one day.
Were you a criminal? Do we need to know that about you?
Well, if you know, I did cyber warfare.
Oh, cool.
So my background's in cyber technology, and I have a dark past, and I have a corporate past that ran
for
parallel.
DoD or for enterprise clients.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
I did cyber for, well, I had clearance for I still have it for the last 35 years for the government, our government, other governments.
Okay. Cool.
But some of these social media, so that's why I have zero footprint out there for a reason.
I was in data center managed services for a while, for almost 2 decades. So very well aware. Cool.
Scary stuff. But anyway, I digress.
Perfect. Okay. Bianna, how things are going?
They're pretty good. I can't complain. Actually, it was funny what Irene said about like she can't stand this for the rest of her life. And that's how I felt in the beginning. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't really miss it as much. Like, you know, my husband made mashed potatoes and I was like, yeah, whatever. I pulled out my vegetables. I ate my food. I didn't even feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I need to have that, or I need to have this. It just, I don't know. It just kind of changed, even though I've been doing it for what, like a month or so. It just like, you look at the food so differently. Like, yeah, like I had my birthday, like we went out. Yeah, I had a drink, you know, like you still have stuff, but it doesn't mean like, you know, you have to have it every day, or you need to say, oh, I can't have this. You know, you just kind of, you know, have it and forget about it. You know, it's not like a daily kind of thing, and you just go about what you usually do, and that's it. And, you know, I don't feel like I miss so much, or that I can't really do it for a long time. You know, like, and I still feel like I can enjoy myself a little bit, like one night or something like that. But there's like a lot of tricks that you taught, like, you know, make sure you go to the restaurant, have a salad first, like, you know, other things. Like now I don't have salmon with mashed potatoes. I ask them for vegetables. Sometimes they even charge you in the restaurant, which was shocking. Yep. But I'm like, whatever, you know, like, you know, and it's like, people look at me like, seriously, you want to pay for vegetables? I was like, yep. So it changed the way you think, and, you know, hopefully it's going to work over.
Don't hope. It's working. You're doing this.
It will work. Yeah, there's still some adjustments I need to make, but overall, I think it's pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's, again, you literally just started and you already have all those tremendous changes. Think about, and you know, it's scary. Think about if you continue doing this for a year, how you will feel and what will happen. Right? So there's a good reason why I think someone mentioned, oh, but you like, oh, I think Irene said that, like, oh, your diet. No, I didn't plan this. That wasn't the idea. I just wanted to get healthier. Whatever, I had like triglycerides of 517, right? Like my goal was to get rid of that.
No, I think you might think differently after a couple of weeks into it. I think.
Also, your hormones change, so you do think differently. That's a real thing. So,
well, that's my fear of one day when you do have that meal that goes beyond the bounds of this. What's going to happen the next day? I mean, and your body's going to reject it.
If you have something wrong, I mean?
Yeah, like, for example, my daughter's getting married in October. and that day is off limits on any menu counting or anything. It's, you know, full force, have the menu. But boy, it's got to be a shock to the body day 2 after that.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to a wedding and you have steak and you have fish and you have a salad, right? You don't have to eat whatever else is on that plate, even like a bunch of mashed potatoes, but also a good place will not give you a bunch of that anyway. And then dessert, you don't have to eat the dessert. You don't have to eat the cake. And maybe by that time, if you eat a little bit, you'll be fine, right? So
that's where I marry dieting and the social aspects of things. There are things at the boundaries on the periphery where you say to yourself, you abide by the diet, except when you hit these circumstances of things, the one-offs. Right. So if I'm going to go to my daughter's wedding, it's a once in a lifetime event, I hope. You know, I could splurge that one evening and the next day go back to a faithful, you know, regime of eating and things like that. If you, you know, exclude things like that out of your life, I mean, because let's face it, eating is a very social, very enjoyable type of thing throughout the ages. So you want to have those special events where you can look forward to, and you can do it without having the feel of guilt.
Sure.
That's the way I approach things. I mean,
by the way, that's exactly the way I look at things. But I also say that if something does something bad to me, there's no reason for me to look at this as something that I will enjoy. Right. And it depends on what I'm eating and what phase of my life. So if I'm trying to lower my sugar, I'm not going to have the cake. It doesn't matter. But now I'm good. I'm great. My wife said, like, we had expensive, beautiful cake. Why don't we have it? We had just had our daughter's bat mitzvah. So they cut this cake into slices and we shared half a slice. And I was like, okay, cake, cool. Next. I don't have to go and eat the cake because it's there, right? I tasted it. It's good. I'm not forbidding myself. And it's not like, yes, no. It just, is this good for me now? Yes, no, nothing. I move on, right? So it's not like a framework, like never, ever have something. It's a tool, and that's it.
But what I notice with my patients, they gradually start to feel better. So they don't really notice what they missed. And then if they really go off the wagon and they feel like they used to feel, they don't want to be like that anymore. So when you always feel a little lousy, it's your baseline, you really don't notice it until you reach a new level. And then when you go back down to that, you're like, oh, I remember what this was like. And that's how it was for me. Look, I was never overweight. I never had high triglycerides. I have every gene for diabetes. I did genetic testing on myself. My mother's entire family, cousins, they died in their 40s, type 1, type 2. I am so sensitive to sugar. If I cheat at all, if I go to a Chinese restaurant and I have any rice, I literally can't keep it reminds me of a cartoon where I need to put the toothpicks in my eyes driving home. I go into a coma. So as a kid, as a teenager, I used to fall asleep on dates. I remember being in the movies with like this cute boy that I loved forever and falling asleep in the movies. That was my first and last date that I pined for like 15 years till he noticed me. And I swear to you, I have more energy as a 60-year-old than I ever did as a 25-year-old until the light bulb went off. I went to chiropractic school. I stopped eating, Roy Rogers and Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries and potato chips. And it's made such a difference in my life, in my labs, in my everything, that I don't go back I'm not going to lie, eat a little chocolate here and there. I sometimes have ice cream, but if I eat a little, I don't pay for it. If I start to derail at all, or I eat something where I don't know what's in it, I feel so crappy again that I get so angry at myself feeling like that. And I don't wish that you feel bad, but I wish that you appreciate how good it is to feel good so that you can see the distinction between the two. And I think that's what sells it for me, Julian. We just feel well, and that's most people don't feel well. Everyone checks off fatigue on their questionnaire. So
it's priceless to feel good. And when you don't, and you don't know, you just don't know that you don't feel good. When you feel the difference, it hits you like a bus, right? So, you know, I have clients who decide after, I don't know, 6 months, I will go and have a donut. And then they, I don't know, sometimes vomit for half a day. They don't want a donut ever again. It's just not worth it. Because if you're insulin resistant and you're removing stuff, then you introduce it, it feels horrible. And people go on vacation to Italy saying, like, oh, I'm going, there's pasta and pizza, and I'm not saying no because I'm in Italy. And then 2 days after, they call me and say, I'm in a hotel room, everyone is on a trip, whatever, and I'm dead. I cannot walk. I'm really bad. Because on the first day, I destroyed this and this and this, and I'm done.
Right. It's true.
So now the rest are enjoying the Italy, and I am. Was it worth it? For 5 minutes.
I was at a wedding in the spring, and the mother of the bride was so drunk. And I remember thinking to myself, what's the point of this from every aspect? Like, she just paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for this wedding, and she's embarrassing herself while people are carrying her around. And she's not going to remember anything tomorrow and be laying with an ice pack on her head. So that is just a whole mindset that I can't even fathom wanting to do that to yourself to get to that
point. Yep. Not awesome at all. So it's something to keep in mind, and never say never again. Like it's not for that. It's for you to get better. That's it. That's it. Cool. Mike B, how are we doing? I know.
Hi, Joey. Yeah, I just yeah, going good. Sounds like Dave. I have a lot in common. My son's getting married in November, and I'm thinking about the same thing. Yeah, I think it's flower that's probably going to be the worst. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Initially, I shared with the group that I'm very grumpy. I was very hungry. I see myself.
You're breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me better now?
I think so.
Sorry, I had the probably the mic on the phone on the table. That I was hungry and grumpy and just not happy and very mad that I was on a diet. And we talked about that. There's two versions of the word. One's nutrition, and the other is the action aspect of it. I also know over the course of my life that usually takes about 3 weeks for me to establish new habits. So, when the month was over or coming up, I didn't think that not signing up for a little additional support and just to stick it out wouldn't be a good thing if I didn't continue. So I guess I'm in week 6 at this point. If we did start in January,
5,
is that
probably
5,
going
6?
into week 6? Yeah.
Okay. I'm not as grumpy. I'm not as hungry. And again, my wife is eating along with me, and, we're eating the rice cauliflower and, broccoli. And tonight we had steak. I had London broil and spinach. And I said, do you want a potato? And she goes, what? Are you trying to make me fat? And I said, no, I just don't want to force what I'm eating on you. And she looked, no, it's fine. So, it's working. And, I've lost more weight than I thought I would lose in 5 weeks, and more than 5 pounds.
You lost a lot of weight. You're doing great. I mean, you lost.
Well, yeah, I lost 10 pounds.
That's great.
So, but more, it's just that, like you say, Julian, never say never. Week 3, I was like, this sucks, basically. But at week 5, I'm a food addict, but I love food. And tonight I'm looking at the dinner, and and I'm satisfied. So, and she was drinking wine, and she goes, "I feel bad," and I said, "It's okay. I'm not reaching for a beer. Not that I'm never going to have another beer, because I have had beer since we started this, but I don't know, the chemical brain changes a little bit, I think, and something that I definitely in week 2 or week 3, I did not expect. I still am trying to make sure that I don't go on Saturday morning and get a everything bagel with bacon, sausage, and egg. That still fighting with that one. I have not done it.
That's your kryptonite.
That's my kryptonite. But yeah, it's good, and like I say, I'm not as hungry or grumpy as I was, which makes me obviously have a better mindset about the whole thing.
That's amazing. I think that's beautiful testimony of what's going on, right? It's not like it wasn't perfect in the beginning, which is
no, definitely not.
And now you see the fruits of it.
Correct.
Because sometimes people like everything is great, and then they crash and they eat something or they just get comfortable. Now, this is great testimony to the fact that it doesn't have to be very easy in the beginning, but it does get better.
Right.
And I'm very happy.
I'm working on the fiber thing also. That's, that's, I'm trying to work on increasing that as well.
And what were the detriments to a supplement? I remember somebody saying the supplements aren't good, or, a powder or anything like that.
It's better in general for you to chew the things rather than, drink them and have powder. But if you cannot have enough, then it's better maybe to supplement the amount that you cannot have, but not replacing, like, I can eat all of this, so instead of lettuce and I will just have powder and cover my, fiber. That's not going to be good, right? That's hospital care. So if someone is really low on that, yeah, Dr. Adria has amazing supplements, but they are supplements for a reason. It's there to supplement, not to replace. Okay.
You saw what Devin did tonight. I mean, you can only imagine how much fiber was in those types of salads, especially with cabbage and the other things. So I think the reason, I'm not anti-fiber, especially for lowering cholesterol and other things, as a supplement. But if you eat the foods, if you rely too much on that, you're not going to rely as much on the foods. And that's what we're really trying to stress, people getting used to eating these foods before they start having to add. And then you see, if you're really not going to the bathroom and getting the fiber, then it can't hurt to add a little bit, but try to see how well you can do with the foods first. And again, look back on your chronometer at days where you did hit the fiber and see what you ate so you can remember to incorporate those, on a more constant basis.
And I also want to plug satiety thing, right? Most people are not hungry at all. But if you take all the veggies away and you replace it with powder for fiber's sake, you will be super hungry because you can drink all of those vegetables in maybe one glass, right? It's insane. And people do this and then they walk around hungry because there's also no calories in this, right? There's nothing. The volume, the content, the chewing, the hormonal secretion, the whole thing that tells the body that you're actually eating doesn't happen if you drink your supplement. So that's that as well. Love the dog. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's been amazing. And thank you for attending and being here. It's really honored to work with you. Andrea, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I think we covered everything. I think we're good.
Okay. This was perfect. Thank you for bringing Devin.
Oh, my pleasure. She's great.
Great.
She is great.
Awesome. Have a good night. I'll put the link to the recording in the group. And If you don't track your food, start tracking. If you didn't send your measurements, start. And you know when to find us.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.